but I have found a whole load of YouTube videos, so I'll send those links on to you as well. Okay, so felting, this is felting from scratch. So this is felting from the original sheeps or camels or llamas or alpacas or whatever's shorn thing. But these have been cleaned and carded and whatever else you do to wool to make it into, it's not just not been spun. So it's an unspun bit of wool. And it can't, there's lots of different types you can use, which I've got 2 types here. So what I'm going to show you briefly is 2 types of felting from the raw wool. One is needle felting. I can't see you, so you've got a question, shout. One is needle felting and one is wet felting. And the wet felting is great fun, and I'm going to do it with my grandchildren. I've already decided. So needle felting is making something like this. So we all in the proper place for the camera?
Yes.
You can see all right.
Yep.
So this is this is needle felting, and it was actually a gift from my daughter who taught me all of this, who started all this for my Christmas. I think it's for my birthday. So I'm not keen on needle felting because I think you need some artistic thing to be a needle felter. I don't, as I said before, I don't really have one of those. So this is the beginnings of an owl. So in needle felting, you don't need a lot, actually. You just need some wool. You need something to do it on, not this bubble wrap, that's Raptor. And you need these special little needles. And these special little needles, you probably won't be able to see them, have got a pointy end, and they've got some little reverse barbs up them so that you can push them in, but they come out very easily. So they go in rough and they come out smooth, if you see what I mean.
And if you like a fishing hook.
Like a
fishing hook.
Well, they're not in the same shape. They're just a little sticky out bit, or rather a sticky in bit, to be honest. But it's positioned so that it's going in against the grain, so to speak. Because it's what the whole point about felting is, wool is amazing. It's got all the little hairs, just like our hairs really, have got little scales on them. And if you put wool enough together and sugar it about, the little scales open up and they connect to each other.
Shut the door, the back door. Cold.
That's how the felt actually is made, because they connect via these little scales along all the hairs. Okay. So needle felting is all about just sticking the needle in the wool. And I'm not going to do it because it take too long, but you can do something dead easy. You can use a little, what do you call one of these things?
Cutter, mold.
Cutter, a little mold, but this is too big. You can get little molds that are in the shapes of hearts or other things, and you can just literally put your little bit of wool into the mold and then start stabbing it. Or you can do it without a mold and make it into a little round shape, for example. So you literally, all you're doing is needling it, literally. So as it goes in, it is making the wool stick to the next bit of wool and become more firm. So you literally just keep doing it round and round and round and round and stuff. But the biggest problem is to make sure you don't actually stick the needle into your own finger. And I'm not terribly into needle felting because I can't see the appeal in it myself personally. So I will eventually get my owls finished. So you can make any kind of shape you want to, and you're literally just moving the shape round and sticking the needle in, straight in and out, not in any angle or anything, just straight in and out until, because it's already coming together. You see, remember that was a bit of wool that was, you know, like this, and it's now on the bits that I've done, you see it's already solid. So it's already becoming part of a particular shape. So I keep doing this. So when I was doing my my little question marks for the banner, I just put some of this wool onto the material and stuck it with the needle, and it went through the material but also bonded with each other to stay in place. Now it's not going to be a very good little circle, but if I kept going, I can make that into a beautiful little circle. And one of the videos I'm going to send you is an expert making little balls of felt. Okay. Now with this here owl thing, I don't need this. I've got to make my shapes for the eyes and such like by using a little bit of this wool. So I'm not going to do it because I don't want to I have to look at my pattern. So if I was going to add this, I would just literally start stabbing it and it sticks to the bit underneath. The whole thing has been made from something like this. All I did was go like this, start stabbing it on top of here, and then adding bits to it to make it this shape. And it's not bad shape really, it's even got a wee tail, see? So that basically is needle felting, and it's used, I've got lots of pictures I can show you of lots of little animals that people make, Christmas decorations that people make, flowers that you can make and stick on things, you know, literally all you are doing is just stabbing the wool with a needle. And the needles come in different shapes. If you're really into it, you can buy equipment that's got several of these on the end of it, so you're doing several at once. You can imagine if there was a do for holding this and you're doing it like this, you've done 3 times faster than with one needle, blah blah blah. So there's lots of equipment, but it's dead easy, and we have done this with the grandchildren, but they do have a tendency to stick it in their fingers. And the needles are very sharp. So that's needle felting. So what I did here was I just mixed a bit of white and a bit of brown to kind of give the mottling effect. See what I mean? So I'm going to add here some more brown on the face, and then I'm going to put in some eyes in white and put a little bit of brown. And then I've even got some yellow here, which is going to be a little beak, but it's going to have to be quite a delicate little bit of wool. So that's how it's going to come together. And it should hopefully look something like an owl, having followed a pattern. So that's needle felting. Any questions about needle felting? No? I like wet felting. Wet felting is what it says it is. You use water to make things like this. I made this when my daughter was showing me how to wet felt a while ago. This is meant, oops, the other way up. It's meant to be a Gruffalo wood, and I thought I might perhaps needle felt or stick on Gruffalo on it, you see? So that was my, and just because I was trying to do something with it. And all this is done with layers of wool of different colours. So what do you need for wet felting? You need bubble wrap, because again, what you're going to do is you're going to agitate the wool so it and encourage it to open its little scales out and then stick together in a permanent material. That's what you end up with. So the felt flowers you were doing, Sue, earlier for that banner thing, has been made industrially, presumably, from this same kind of process, I guess. I have no idea, to be honest. So you need some bubble wrap sitting on some protectiveness. You need some soapy water with soap of any kind. This is fairy liquid, to a portion of 10%. So it's 1 portion of fairy liquid and 10 of hot water. You need some plastic, a polythene bag, a piece of string, some more towels, etc., and the wool. Now, there are lots of different types of wool. This is my wet felting wool. This is actually much finer than the one we were using for the owls. You probably can't see it, but this is kind of more muddled, less refined. It's still got some of its kind of appearance of being. This is much silkier. It's been combed to perfection, and it's actually made out of a different wool. Merino wool tends to be the one that a lot of people use because it's beautiful and glistening, but you can use bamboo and things like that as well, actually. So I've got a few colours here that came with another pack, this pack, which I bought myself when I was in Somerset a couple of years ago, because I met all this stuff when I went to Kyrgyzstan, and they use felting for just about everything. So what you do in wet felting is, and I'm a bit short on supplies, but however, you start putting down layers of this natural wool, and you pull the pieces out very gently so they come out unbroken, literally like that. And you start laying them down either on a template or to your own pattern, across the way like this. Can you see that all right? It's
Yeah.
white,
Yeah.
but it's just got more white than anything else. So you're just literally pulling gently and lying in one direction this wool. And you should do 4 layers of this. I'm trying to make it a certain size because I have one I made earlier. I was going to do it yesterday, never got round to it, but this morning I was sitting on hold waiting to get through to these brilliant people I'm trying to cancel the holiday from. So I thought, oh, I could do it while I'm waiting. And I had it finished in that time, would you believe? I think that's probably about the size it was. So normally I would put another white layer down for that, but I'm going to cut corners here and do it rather more quickly. I was looking at very limited supplies at the moment. So I was looking at what I had, thinking, what can I make this with? So I would normally do 2 layers, one that way and one this way in white, and that's my background. You can see that here. And the more layers you do, the thicker it is, and the slower you do it, a better job you can do it as well. That's the other thing. And then I'm going to put green, if I've got enough green. I had some cheat earlier on with my other wool, in the opposite direction. But again, I would normally do at least 2 layers of the coloured ones. I'd do 2 more layers of another colour, and then on top of everything else I would also then start doing my design, because this one, as you can see, has got different colours in a pattern, in a picture. So you literally are putting it in a layer, nice and quick. I'm running out of wool. I knew I was going to anyway, so that's fine. I've got other colours here. I'll just fill it in with the different colours as I did earlier on. Once you've made this, what could you do with it? Well, actually, you can do anything with it. It's material. So you could cut it into doll's clothes. You could make it into a dress using a dressmaking pattern. You could use what they call a resist, which is something that is a template, such as a shoe template to make shoes or slippers. What else could you do? You can make it in fancy shapes like this to make flowers, and I'm sending you a video of that as well. They're quite fun to make, but that's more, although it looks as though it might be easier, it's actually more complicated. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to do, because I've done it with the other one, is to add a pattern on the top. And you'll see why shortly. You might have guessed already, actually. I do apologise for the fact it's a bit rough and ready, because obviously I would usually take much more time on this. And can anybody see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see what I'm writing on the top?
Yep.
Okay, so then is the fun bit, really. You cover it up. Well, actually, you can cover it up with a bit more bubble wrap if you like, but for ease of doing the next part. Oops, hang on a minute, I've missed a bit. Ooh, silly bee. Next, so after doing that, you then use your hot soapy water and you soak the whole thing. Let's make sure my table's protected. And you literally sprinkle it all over it so that you don't actually move anything. So it's nice and wet with wet soapy water. I think my 3's moving a wee bit. You can see why the kids would like this, can't you?
I don't think the cats would.
That's why they're in the sun lounge, aren't they?
Yeah, I saw one walking past a bit ago.
Yeah, they're both in there. So then cover it up with a piece of plastic. Pat it down gently so nothing moves. There we go. Put some more on the top. And then you can use this amazing piece of equipment called a plastic bag, if you like, to make it in a wee thing like this and use it to start start agitating the wool. But actually, I prefer to do it with the fingers. And what you're doing here is you're just agitating everything to get the little wool strands to open up their little scales and stuck to each other. And you have to do this for ages. and ages and ages. And some people only do this. But other people use a bit of a roller. Now, this whole thing about felting is thought to come about because workers in Mongolia or some such city, country, put some soft sheep fur wool into their shoes because they were getting sore feet with their shoes. And at the end of a hard day's work, they discovered that the wool had turned into a felt sock. So that's where, because so it was mixed with sweaty sweat from the feet and dust, and it's been agitated all day. So the little wool fibers had all got stuck together as felt. See what I mean? So then what I would normally do, you see how the size bit, by the way, what I would normally do is I would turn it over, do the other side, and then move on to the next step. But because of speed and everything else today, I'm going to do the next step now. So I now need a towel that is separate from this big one on the table. I'll just move this bit. Put a towel on the table. There we go. Open this up again. Right. So now I'm going to roll the whole thing up. Bubble wrap, soap, etc. It's all being rolled up. One of the videos I'm sending you is from Mongolia, and it talks about how they make the felt for their yurts. I'm really into all of this nowadays since I went to Kyrgyzstan. And they do this on almost an industrial size, because the size of a yurt, they need big panels of felt to make their yurt. And that's what their walls are made of, the floors are made of, the ceilings made of, it's all made of felt that they have made. And all they do is they shear the sheep, throw all the sheared sheep wool into a big pile, kind of comb it by thumping it with sticks and doing various rituals while they're doing it. Then they put it into a great big thing that's a bit like this, and then they attach it to a horse, and the horse goes wandering over the steps with this behind it for hours. Anyway, if you're doing it domestically,
can you not use your cats for that?
I tell you, they make so much blooming mess with their fur. I'm threatening to have.
Sorry, I butted in. Sorry.
What? No, I mean, honestly, my daughter and I have been talking about whether you can make the felt from cat fur, and apparently you can.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
has a video of it. Anyway, so you domestically here, you need to roll 50 times in one direction, take the whole thing apart, turn it round by 90 degrees, do it for another 50 rolls, and then repeat again. So you've gone round all the different angles with the thingy, but I'm not going to do that, take ages. So this is a half-baked one coming out just for effect at the moment. And after you've done that, and there is a way to check that it's been done enough, which I'll show you, you then take it and rinse it out under the cold tap. You literally grab hold of it like this, under the cold tap. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, that shows you how solid these things are, because you can do that at that point. So you rinse it out under the cold tap. If you're worried that it's not felted enough, or you want to make it really firm, you can do it alternating cold water or hot water, cold water, or whatever. And then you hang it on the line or something to dry. So what have we got under here? So we've still got this here. It's not complete. I'm not going to take it right out. But you can tell when something is felted, because if you grab hold of the bits of fibre, you can actually pinch fibres out. See that? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not happen. You need to keep going until that is not possible to pinch an inch, pinch a fibre at all. So looking at this, I made one earlier. And here's my one from earlier, which I also didn't do completely correctly. But what I wanted to show you, apart from the fact it's actually quite solid actually, even though I only did 2 layers, same as this one, and I didn't do it for the full length of time at all. But I mean, that's still quite firm. I could do things with that. I could make dolly clothes with that, except it got U3A on it. I made it the same size as the one I've just made. It shrunk. And that's something that has to be taken in consideration. So if I made one of these for the banner for a 8 centimetre square, I would have to add about 50% size because it shrinks by up to 50%. Okay?
Yeah.
So that is literally how you do wet felting. What can you do with it? As I said, you can make it into yurts. You can make it into clothes, but you'd have to make sure that you made it 50% bigger than you need it to be. Ditto with slippers and shoes, etc. And that is wet felting.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, wow,
Yeah.
that was
I
amazing.
do have pictures I can show you of end results. If you just give me a second while I move things off of my... There's obviously a lot more to this than that, really. So, have I got screen sharing capability, Phyllis?
Yes.
So if I just screen share, what did I have it on? No, that's not where I have it on. I'll maybe need to say I've got it on a PowerPoint. I can't quite remember how you do a PowerPoint on this thing. Because it's my tablet. Let me see whether I can just do that. Oops.
So how easy is it to get the wool?
The wool, you can buy it anywhere. It's dead easy. And it's lovely wool. And it's not expensive, I might add. Let me do it as photos instead. Because oh, hang on. OneDrive it. Probably do this way, all right. Still, I mean, even I have to practice all these strange ways of doing it as well. Might not work. I might have to go back to my photos and send the whole lot to you. Oh, it's not going to work. So I'm going to do it the other way and share it with my photos. Right, so can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Lots
Yeah.
of different flowers you can make. The one thing I didn't practice was how to screen share a PowerPoint presentation. Typical, isn't it?
Well, it's not the case once you find the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, because I did the presentation on Cruise to the Family Social History, and it was fine. Except I meant to say to you, Phyllis, we were blipped out at about 10 to 3. I mean, you know, we'd got it booked from 2 till 4, and everybody was blipped out of it at all because I was screen sharing my PowerPoint, and then so we just had to log back in. And it took people a wee while to get back. It was quite nice because we had a bit chat and all that. And then, of course, I had to try and find me PowerPoint.
Yeah. So what day was that on?
That was the Thursday afternoon. I'm trying to work. Not last Thursday, the Thursday before.
Right.
So
There shouldn't have been any reason.
No, well, that's because it's been booked for the 2 hours, and
Well, it can go on as long as you want. It could go on for 24 hours.
I mean, we'd started at 2, and it was about 10 to 3 because all I got was a message up saying something like somebody is accessing this. You will be logged out in 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds. Blah.
Right. Somebody must have been trying to launch another meeting or something.
Yeah. Well, I meant to report back to you about it. I didn't know if Morag might have said as facilitator.
No, she hasn't.
Yeah. Anyway, it was. I'm trying to work out what the dates were.
Right. I'll have a look at the audit trail, see what I can figure out. So.
Okay. So sorry, Linda.
No, because I logged into the Ayr one. I was just trying to think whether it was me because I'm always guilty of everything. I logged into the Ayr one because I do have login abilities, but I don't use it. by accident the other week, but it wasn't last week.
Yeah, it would have been the 23rd of July. That's right. I've just been.
And then I was thinking it might have been Ian and Andy with the chess, but they didn't play last week, so it wasn't that.
Yeah, they'll be using their own one now anyway. It doesn't
Yes, they
matter.
have been.
Yeah.
They might have tried it using that one because Andy usually tries using that. But yeah, there probably is someone. This is a hat that my daughter made using wet felton. Can you see it?
Yes.
This is a hat my daughter made for my mother, who is 92, as a Christmas present. And you should have seen us taking it down in the car with this hat box and everything. And so she made this using some kind of a template underneath it. Apparently you can do it in 2 dimensions, and you just do a template in, you know, something like a bit of underlay, carpet underlay. And you can put your wet felting both sides of the carpet underlay, if you see what I mean, doing exactly what I've just done. And then when it's all shrunk and felted properly, you then just take out the thing in the middle and pull it into shape. And that's what they do with dresses and coats and things like that as well. And there's a video for a cat cave which shows this quite beautifully. I don't think I put that on the videos that I showed you, where it was done in 2 dimensions, but then they just stuffed a whole load of black poly bags in between the layers and pulled it into shape. Obviously it's not kind of like shop shape type things, but it does. If you think about the Mongols, for example, they would use this. They have sheep, and like nobody's business, millions of them. Everything came from their sheep and their horses. So they would make all their clothes as well as the houses and the decorations, because the other thing you can do is, having made the felt, you can then embellish it. You can either embellish it by doing pretty patterns in thread, or you can add things to it. And there's loads of videos and pictures of those. Where is it? There it is on my head. Clothes, but she was in fact that is at my mother's house. So I was trying to work out where we took that. So that was, we were down there at Christmas. So that was just to demonstrate it, because we hadn't taken a photo, and she put the wee ribbon on it as well, which apparently came off. So my mother sewed it in place, and she's actually worn it before lockdown out.
Very good.
My God, the things you do for your grandchildren, eh? And then my daughter made me this for last Christmas. So that's the flowers that I showed you a minute or 2 ago. They're just connected to a piece of green kind of
wire.
Yeah, a bit of ropey stuff really, that she just made by twisting the wool into shape, and then she just connected it with the lights and everything together, and that was my Christmas present. And she, you know, I mean, that kind of present is so much more wonderful than any silly bit of tat that people buy you from the shop, isn't it? I mean,
personalized.
In my lounge now, you know. So that's what she did as well. I'll send you the PowerPoint as well, so you can see all the other pictures. But you can really make anything with it once you've done it. I'm going to make some dolly clothes, I've decided. Maybe even for the kids for Christmas, amongst my applique and everything else. I thought I might do a bit of wet felting, because the girls in particular are well into their dolls at the moment. So I'll maybe make them a little jacket or something, and have a go before I even think about making a full-blown size one, which I won't do. But it's amazing what you can actually do. What else have I got here? I came back from Kyrgyzstan with this, which was my hostess's creation. She was making one. It was actually hanging on a bit of wood, so that you hang it on the wall, a bit like that. But that's a commercially made one that I brought. She also gave me, which is lovely. But this was a personal gift that she had fun making. And it's made in exactly the same way as I just showed you just now. And she's added these little bits of rope and stuff in the way of her ancestors. So it's a quite a fun little craft, really.
Yeah. All discovered by accident.
Yes, well, so the story goes. Whether that's true, I actually don't know. But it sounds quite fun, doesn't it? Yeah. And it's good when they're sheep. because apparently one of the videos I'm going to send, it's apparently they shear them twice a year. So they've got loads and loads of this stuff when they've got thousands of blooming sheep as well, to make their things up and up in the mountains and everything, make their yurts beautiful and warm. The thing is that wool is so hard wearing, and it's very durable, and it resists water, and it's fire retardant as well, apparently, when you make it into felt. I find that hard to believe. I thought wool was very quick to catch fire, but there you go. So it's a really good material to use for lots of different things.
That was really enlightening. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah, I wonder about the sort of the wool and fire retardant, because maybe we're used to wool that has been processed quite a lot and maybe had sort of chemicals added to it. I mean, I don't know from my agricultural knowledge, but I've no sort of real scientific evidence of that. But you know, it might just be because of either the colour dyes and things like that have been added. Then that might make wool more flammable from what we but though, if that's sort of natural colours, and certainly maybe from the colours of the wool of different breeds of sheep as well, which, because I've got some chunks of different from Jacobs and from Herdwick's, which go from different colours according to their age. So but you know, if they haven't been tampered with through chemical processes, maybe
so I don't get a patch and have a go. No.
But weren't they using wool as sheep's wool as insulation at some point? Somebody that had, you know, ages ago, I saw a program on the television so it can't be very inflammable, can it? Or flammable.
Yeah.
If they're using it as insulation.
In
Yes.
the insulated house or in a tent or wherever.
Loft insulation. There are
Loft insulation and things like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.